Welcome everyone to another fantastic episode of Computer Tech Vids. Today we will be talking about Microsoft and the context menus that are in every operating system from 95 and up. Now you're probably wondering, what is the context menu? Well, it's the menu that comes up when you actually click the right mouse button on your desktop. Now you're probably wondering, why can I not customize this context menu to support programs? Well, because actually Microsoft doesn't allow you to do this, but I will show you examples on how you can go about doing this without using any third-party software. Now you're probably wondering, why are we actually going to do this? Well, because it actually makes the user interface a lot easier when you try to use the context menu in your applications without having to go to the start menu and actually customize the start menu to actually launch your programs, when you can actually go to right-click and choose your programs. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, why didn't Microsoft include this in there? It was because they didn't want to let you actually modify the context menus in your operating system and cramp them up and bloat them up any more than what they already are. Microsoft is notorious for all the bloatware in their coding, and actually the operating systems have been slower over time, so Windows 10 actually prevents most of the slowness that happens in the context menus or in booting, etc., etc. Now, as for customizing these context menus, Microsoft actually lets you change the colors and the appearance of it, but doesn't let you change anything basically about it. Applications do this on the fly when they add new context menus to Windows. Like you see here, we have Microsoft Access, Flash Action Script, Windows Bitmap, Corel, context menus, a journal document, a WinZip, and WinZip files, etc., etc. But I'm going to actually show you how to add Notepad to your right-click context menu. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we hold down our Windows key and push R, and then we type in the word regedit. I'm sorry about that. regedit, actually. Now, when we open up our registry editor, we notice that in the background we are actually at the key computer HT classes root directory background shell. This is actually the area in our Windows registry that controls our right-click context menu. So now let's go ahead and get started and try to see if we could actually add Notepad into this. So what we're going to do is, because Microsoft and their little notorious bugs inside their registry don't exactly allow you to create certain keys, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our share of programming inside the registry, then save it as a .reg extension, and change our values inside with the Notepad, and then re-import it back into the registry. Now, let's see how this is done. So, of course, we're inside of directory, background, and shell, and where we actually have to be. So let's go ahead and create Notepad. So we're going to right-click shell, and we're going to go down to New and Key. And we're going to type in Notepad. And inside of Notepad, we're actually going to create, go to New, Expandable String Value, and type icon. And then push enter. And double click where it says data. Go down the list here. You see this blank area here. We're going to double click and type in the double quotes percent system root percent forward slash the slash by the backspace, below the backspace. And we're going to type notepad.exe and the double quotes again. So right there it just gives us our icon. Okay. So now we're going to go down and go to string value and type in MUIVerb. And we're going to push enter, and we're going to name this Notepad. So let's go ahead and see what we did so far. We minimize the screen, and we right-click, and we notice that Notepad is actually present in here. It says Notepad, and it has its little icon, but when we click it, nothing happens yet. Okay? So what we're going to do is go back in, click on Notepad, the key that we created, right-click it, and go to New and choose Key. And then type in Command, COMMAND. And inside here, we're going to create the value. Going up to value over here, and type in double quotes percent system root percent forward slash notepad. Notepad.exe and quotes again. Now on the bottom, we're going to create a new key, but it's going to be expandable string value. Now the name of this is going to be default as well. Keep in mind that there's a glitch inside of Microsoft Windows that doesn't actually allow you to erase the top line, only the data that's within it, but nothing preceding the data. Basically, you can clear what's inside the data, but you can't clear anything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Okay? So what I did was double click it where it says data, double click it, and then copy, right click and go to copy, and then push OK. And then we're going to go down to here, this new line that we just created that says default reg_expand sz, and double click it. Now when it opens up inside the value data, if you right click the mouse button and go down to paste and then hit your left mouse button to paste it and then click OK. So what we just did was create what was inside the reg_sz and we incorporated it inside of reg_expand sz. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to where it says shell and save, actually export, where we are saving, but we're actually exporting the keys that we just created. So what we're going to do is go to Notepad, go to shell, and right click and go down to export, and then type in notepad just regular notepad, because the .reg already exists here. It's a registration file, star.reg. Star is the actual wildcard, and .reg is the actual extension. So we're going to go ahead and save it to the desktop. Save. So what we're going to do now is right-click the registration file and go to Edit. We're going to edit this in Notepad. Now we're going to go ahead and maximize. I just click the bar. You can maximize it or minimize it, like that. And all these numbers that you see here are going to be changed. What we're going to do is actually delete this value here. This value right here. And get it out of there. And we're going to move up this value to here. And delete everything that says hex, before hex, all the way to here. And delete that right there. Until it says at equals hex 2 and all these numbers right here. You're going to need all these numbers. This is actually the hexadecimal values, the hex values actually. Hex is a programming language that precedes decimal, so it's called hexadecimal. And here's your icon, and here's its hex value. And we notice that inside of HKey underscore classes underscore root, we created directory, background, shell, and here is our new directory, or our new key, Notepad. And down here, preceding it, we have HKey classes, root, directory, background, shell, Notepad, and command, which is the second key that we created. So this is our first key that we created. This is our second key that we created. Inside the first key that we created, we actually created icon and gave it the name icon and gave the hexadecimal value to it. We actually, MUIVerb, we called it Notepad because that's exactly what it is. It's Windows Notepad. And over here for our hex, we created this line. This is actually the directory to Windows Notepad. So we're going to go ahead and save this file. Just click File with the left mouse button and go down to Save and click the left mouse button again. That's saving it. Okay, so we're going to close it. And we're going to run this registry file so that we can incorporate the new values inside. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the Windows Registry Editor and delete Notepad because we're going to incorporate the new values inside there automatically. Remember, we exported, now we're going to import. All right. So now we actually deleted the Notepad key and the command key that was in here and everything that was inside of the Notepad and the command key. Okay. So what we're going to do is minimize the registry, the Windows Registry Editor. And we're going to right-click on the desktop to bring up our context menu to see if Notepad is in there. So when we right-click, you'll notice that Notepad is not in here anymore. So what we're going to do is click or double-click, depending on what you have it set up as. My computer is set up to do a single click. That's why you see the hand. Your computer might be set up for double-clicking, so you might see the little arrow, your basic arrow, as you see here. So we're going to go ahead and run this registry entry and import it into the registry. Push yes. Adding information can actually change or delete values and cause components to stop working correctly. If you do not trust the source of this information it tells you the directory that you're running it from, the extension name of the actual registry entry file. It says do not add it to the registry. Are you sure you want to continue? And if you press yes, it'll import it. If you press no, it won't. So let's go ahead and push yes. It tells you then in another prompt, it says the keys and values contained in the directory that you created in notepad.reg have been successfully added to the registry. Click OK. Now let's go back in and check the new values it created. So if we click on shell and we click this little tiny arrow that's pointing to the right, you'll notice that Notepad is back in here. If you click on Notepad, icon is now %, that's correct, and that is correct also. So we're going to also check the new value. Notice that the other value in Windows that was here, remember there was two defaults, one that was reg SZ and the other one was reg expand SZ? Well, I got rid of this because Microsoft and its bugs do not let you delete the first registry key. So now this is correct. This is the correct way of opening this Windows application from the context menu. So let's go ahead and see if it works. If we actually minimize, which is this little tiny dash here, we're going to left click the mouse button to minimize it. Now we're going to right click the context to open our Windows context menu, the desktop context menu. And notice that Notepad is present. It says Notepad and the icon. So if we actually click it with our left mouse button, it actually runs. And that is how you add Notepad to your context menu so that you can access it when you right-click on the desktop. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, how can I add a submenu to Windows context menus? Yes, this can be done also, but it's also tricky. Luckily for us, I have actually created a template for us that actually aids us in this. It's almost identically the same, but this time this template adds a little twist to it. So let's go ahead and open up the template I created. Now, in this template that I'm actually showing you, we're actually creating it in the same exact directory and using a different type of key. This time we're going to use Microsoft Office 2013 as our test subject. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all this here, and we're going to go down to copy. So what I did was I dragged the mouse and I actually highlighted while holding down my left mouse button, highlighting the Windows registry file, the template that I created, and I'm going to right-click and go down to copy. Now, what we're going to do is hold down our actually Windows key and push R at the same time. And then type in Notepad and then press enter. Our trusty Notepad comes up, and I'm going to right-click anywhere inside Windows Notepad and go down to Paste by using my left mouse key. Notice that now I have pasted everything that I have copied inside of an untitled Notepad document. So let's go ahead and erase this here. Remember, this is my template, so it's not available basically to anybody. I can post it up online via suggestion if anybody does want it, and so people can actually use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Notepad as the guinea pig for this test subject again. So what we're going to do is, because Notepad already exists in our Windows context menu, we're going to actually use WordPad instead. Well, actually, let's go ahead and use Microsoft Office 2013. And we're just going to use WinWord. That's actually a lot better. All right. So, because we're doing a sub menu inside of a context menu, there's no need to name the submenu or its command. So we're going to leave this area blank. All right. This is actually if you want to give it, your submenu a name before you click on it to access your actual name within the submenu. So where it says MUIVerb, and then it has the double quotes and the equal sign and the double quotes again, it says submenu name. So we're going to call this Microsoft Word 2013, because that's what I have installed on this computer. I know Microsoft 2016, Microsoft Word 2016, Microsoft Office 2016 is out. I just haven't had the time to actually sit down and install it. I do have a copy of it already, and one of these days I'll actually get around to actually install this application, because I just love a lot of the stuff that's in Microsoft Office 2016. So we're going to name this Microsoft.Office.2013. This is going to be our new key that we're actually going to create inside of inside of HKey classes root, directory, background, shell. And here is our new key right here. So this script is going to write all this at once, and it's going to incorporate inside our new key this information, and it's going to incorporate this information. Now notice that there isn't any hex values inside here yet, because we're going to add those as these keys are being already created inside the registry. So what we're going to bring down, what we're going to do now is actually this is the actual official key that we're going to be writing to. So what we're going to do is we're going to current directory go into this key, okay? So what we're going to do is read what the script is actually going to do is it's going to create this directory, Microsoft Office 2013 shell and access. Shell, every time a shell is called or a new instance of shell, what the system does is create a submenu. So what we're going to do is when we right-click, you're going to see the first shell come up. And then you're going to see the words Microsoft Word 2013 appear. Now, when you hover over Microsoft Word 2013, you're going to see Microsoft Word 2013. We'll call this Microsoft Office. Because what we're actually doing is we're right-clicking to go into this key to see a submenu that says this title. All right. So when you hover over this title, you'll see this title, and then when you click on it, it'll start up the program. And we're actually going to call this Word. And call it down here Word as well. Alright, so now we have our template set up. So let's go ahead and read it. HKey _ classes root, directory, background, shell, Microsoft.Office.2013. This key right here will be written to the registry. After this key has been written to the registry, new keys will be created within, or string values will be created within this new Microsoft key. These values, string values, are subcommands that contain no information, MUIVerb, which is this line here, and it's going to have the title Microsoft Office 2013. You're going to see that as soon as you right-click and enter the context menu. Then it's going to give an icon of our choosing. Then we're going to navigate to this key, H key classes, root, directory, background, shell, directory, shell. And it's going to create the new shell under this directory here, the new key value. And inside this new key value will be formed. H key, classes, root, directory, background, shell, Microsoft.Office.2013, shell, and Word. Word is the new key. And inside of Word, you'll see MUIVerb, Microsoft Word 2013. This will appear when you hover over this. And inside of this, when you click it, it'll start this command inside of Word. This is another key inside of this key, inside of this key, inside of this key, inside of this key, this key, this key, and this key. These are all keys. And this is the final key, and this is the actual hex value to this key. So let's go ahead and save this. What I did was File, click on File, and Save. And then we're going to, where it says Save as Type, click on it, and go to All Files, and then type in Word.reg, and save it. Now we just created or modified a template to actually create a submenu within the Windows context menu, so that when we right-click the context menu on our desktop, it brings up Microsoft Office 2013. When you hover over this word, Microsoft Office 2013, with your mouse, it'll open up another menu that pops up, and it'll have Microsoft Word 2013 present in it. And when you click on Microsoft Word 2013, it'll start what is inside this key called command. So let's go ahead and close it down. And what we're going to do is run it. So here is our new registry file that we created, and here it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to click it, left click it, and import it into the registry, and then click yes. And we're prompted again, and then if you click yes, it'll import it to the registry. And then click OK after you're prompted again, and what happens is it'll actually place it inside the Windows registry. It imported it into the registry. So let's take a look at it. We have Microsoft.Office.2013 inside of the directory, background, shell, and Microsoft Office 2013. Now inside of this key that we created, we have icon, which is blank, the MUIVerb, which is Microsoft Office 2013, and the subcommands are nothing. This is going to be left blank because we don't want to name our subcommand or subcommands to pop up another menu within another menu within another menu within another menu, etc., etc. So now let's go look for an icon. So we're going to click on our trusted Windows key here and then push R, and then type in /program files, and then hit enter. So we're going to navigate to Office. Right now we're in the x64-bit version. We're not in the program files parentheses 86. We're not in the 32-bit. We're in the 64-bit. I am. we're going to Microsoft Office, and we're going to Office 15, and we're going to copy the address. Copy address as text. And then minimize this. And where it says icon, I want it to have first time run. So what we're going to do is type in first run. I think it's firstrun.exe. So let's go ahead and make a firstrun.exe. And put a parentheses. Now, where it says program files, you could actually merge this together and then go down to here and type in the double parentheses here, the double quotes, and type in %program files %. All right, so what that does is that it uses registry values. Program files % is like bringing up :/program files /Microsoft Office, etc., etc. Basically, it eliminates you using :/ as the root. Basically, it'll look for program files wherever you have Windows installed, basically. And we're going under Microsoft Office, Office 15, and firstrun.exe. So now that we gave it that, let's see if that icon is actually there in our submenu. So what we're going to do is minimize the registry editor and right-click on the desktop, anywhere on the desktop, and see if our icon is present. And notice that the icon is present, and it says Microsoft Office 2013, and yes, our submenu did appear, but there's no icon, and you can't run it just yet. So what we're going to do is go back into our registry editor by left-clicking the icon that appears on the taskbar here. And what we're going to do is go down to this little arrow over here, right next to Microsoft.Office.2013. And we're going to click it until it points downward. And then click the one that says Shell also. It'll point downward. And then you see Word. So we're going to go ahead and give the value that's here. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this information. What I did was double click where it says data, the icon right here. This line right here is what we want. We're going to copy it. And we're going to go down to Word down here in the Windows Registry Editor. And we're going to click icon. See where it says icon? We're going to click data and paste that data that we just copied before down here. Now instead of us having firstrun.exe here, we're going to add word.exe and the quotes, and then push OK with your mouse or enter. So let's see what this line now did. If we minimize the Windows Registry Editor and then right-click to bring up our context menu and then hover over, now we see that it has a different type of icon that it's not supposed to have. So what we're going to do is figure out what is causing this error. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be WinWord. Yes, WinWord.exe. So it's the quotes %program files %/Microsoft Office /Office 15 / winword.exe and quotes. So we're going to go ahead and push OK again and minimize the Windows Registry editor and go down to Microsoft Office and notice that the actual icon appeared this time. And that is correct. So what we're going to do now is go back into our registry by left-clicking the icon that is inside the taskbar here and copy this information here. We're going to right-click the mouse, go down to copy and left-click, and then push OK. And then go down to where it says Command. Remember, we're inside Microsoft, Shell, Word, Command. And you'll notice default reg_expand_sz. And double-click Data. And then, inside this value data box, we're going to right-click the mouse and go down to Paste, and then left-click. And we just pasted the data that we had before inside here. Remember the quotes, %program files, %/Microsoft Office /Office 15 /WinWord. And then push Enter or click on OK. So let's go ahead and review. Inside of our directory, we have background, shell, and inside here, the shell, we go down to Microsoft.Office.2013. We created the icon. We gave the menu a name, the new menu, the submenu of Microsoft Office 2013. We left our subcommands clear. And now we go down to Word, and we notice that we gave it the icon of WinWord, what it's supposed to have. We named it Microsoft Word 2013 with the MUIVerb. And when you click on Command, we gave it the name default. The type is reg_expand_sz, and the data type, the data is actually quotes, %program files, %/Microsoft Office /Office 15 /winword.exe, followed by the quotes. So let's go ahead and see if Microsoft Word runs when I right-click my context menu and go into my submenu and select it. So we're going to go ahead and minimize the Windows Registry editor. That's regedit.exe. We're going to minimize it. And we're going to right-click the desktop and go down to Microsoft Office 2013. Here's our trusty little icon. Here's our icon for Microsoft Word, the Microsoft Word 2013, and we're going to left-click it now. And of course, Microsoft Word 2013 opens. And there you have it. Now, instead of going through all the trouble of constantly creating keys inside the registry, you can actually use your own template and copy it. The template we just created for Microsoft Word can also be used to create Access and use it to create many other submenus. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add Access in there. So we're going to go ahead and right-click on our template that we just created before and click Edit. And notice that it's bare. Nothing is in here, etc., etc. That's because we haven't saved the new registry entries inside this. So we're going to, the reason why I did this is because I wanted you to see how this information changes when you export to this registry entry. So what we're going to do is go back into our registry editor, and we're going to go back up to where it says Microsoft.Office.2013. And we're going to right-click with our right mouse button and go down to Export, and we're going to click the left mouse button. And we're going to look for our registry entry, the Word registry file here, word.reg. And we're going to click it once, and if you have it set up for double click, then you double click it. And it says confirm save as. It prompts you to replace the file. You push yes. Then we minimize the Windows Registry Editor. Now, if you're adding access to the submenu, there's not a lot of editing you need to do inside of your template. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click the template and go to Edit. So what I did was right-click and scroll up to Edit and then left-click. Maximize the window. Notice that our entries are changed inside of our template. Now these templates are ever changing. What I'm talking about is the more you edit them and reconfigure them, the longer they'll get until a point where it's so big that, you know, it from all the data that you. So what we're going to do now is, because our first part of the sub key is already created, we don't need to create Microsoft.Office 2013 because it's already created. And also we don't need to navigate to it because we're already inside of it, okay? Because this is already here. This line is already here. So what we're going to do, the lines that we need to copy are actually these lines right here. All the lines that are highlighted in blue are the lines that actually you need to use to create the second part of your template. So we're going to go ahead and right-click and go and scroll down to Copy and left-click Copy. And then we're going to click on a blank area. Go down to the next line. You see, I didn't go here. I went here. I didn't go here or here. I went here. Where my mouse is right here. And I'm going to right-click and go down to Paste. The first thing I'm going to do is change this. This right here. We're going to change this to Access. And we're going to change this to Access. And we're going to change this to Access. All right. We're going to leave all the hex values the same. And we're going to leave all the hex values here the same. Because when we actually go back into our registry, the only thing that changes in these values is the actual exe file. We're not changing the directories. We're not changing anything else. So what we're going to do next is actually File with the left click, and then Save with the left click also. Now we're going to import these new values into our registry. We're now going to create a new key called Access under Shell, and we're going to create another key called Command under Access that's inside Shell. That's inside Microsoft Office 2013. That's inside Shell. That is inside Background. That is inside Directory. That is inside HKey_classes root. So let's go ahead and import this. Click on it once or double click, depending on how you have it set up. Click yes when prompted. When you're prompted again with the triangle symbol and the exclamation, you push yes. And when the information comes up, you push OK. Now we just actually imported some information into the registry, and notice that it all looks the same. The only thing is that now you have Word icon and Word icon, and it's Microsoft Word and Microsoft Access. Access isn't going to run yet. Word is going to run there because Word is in its place. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that around, and this is a clever way to do it. Click on the Windows Registry Editor that's already open in the taskbar by left-clicking it. Now notice, under Shell, under Microsoft, we have Shell, Access, Word, and Command. Now if we open up Access, click on the little arrow that's facing to the right and make the arrow face downward. We have Access and Command. If we click Access and go up to where it says Icon and double click it with the left key, we're going to double click it. Double click with the left mouse key. And we're going to change this to ACCESS. MS Access, actually. MSACCESS. So now it's pointing to double quotes, percent, program files, percent, / Microsoft Office, / Office 15, / MS Access. That's MSACCESS.exe, and then another set of double quotes. So we're going to click or press OK. Click the OK with the left mouse button. So now if we minimize our Windows Registry Editor by minimizing it with this little tiny area over here and your left mouse button, and we right click and we go down to our submenu, you'll notice that the Microsoft Access now has its Access icon, but it will still run Windows Word. And just to prove it, you'll see Word run. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that also. So what we're going to do is go back into our Registry Editor that is located on the taskbar right here. It's open at the moment. And we're going to go down to Access's Command. Here's Access. And we're going to go into the Command key. And we're going to change this also. And point it to MS Access. And then click OK. So now what we just did was tell it to open up Access instead of Microsoft Word. So let's see if it did work. We're going to minimize our registry by minimizing with the left mouse button. Right-click the mouse button to bring up the context menu, and go down to Microsoft and go hover over Microsoft Access 2013 and run it with the left mouse button. And there you have it. Access opens up. Now, this is just one of many context menus in Windows that you could actually customize. Running applications through the context menu isn't something new, but a lot of people have had issues with it involving Windows 8 and 8.1 and Windows 10, because all the operating systems, their registry values are different. Now, in a sense, every way of modifying the right-click context menu is the same thing. What I'm talking about, it's fluent. All you need to do is actually know the right paths to these context menus. And in the template that I have created, you'll see that there's arrows pointing to them. This key right here controls the right-click context menu. That's this menu that comes up when you click the right-click, and it'll come up. Now, over here is the folder context menu. Keep in mind, the folder context menu is totally different than the right context menu. Notice that HKey classes root directory shell Microsoft.office.2013 is different from HKey classes root directory background shell Microsoft Office 2013. And notice that when I right-click a folder, and you'll see that the Microsoft Office does not appear in here, because this is a totally different context menu. The key that controls this context menu that you see here is this key here. Now, the key that controls the file context menu is this: HKey classes root star, the asterisk symbol, shell Microsoft.office.2013. That's the directory, the key that we actually created. So basically, when you click on a registration file or an exe or a template or a text document or anything that has an extension, this context menu shows up. Each context menu has different features for different things that you right-click on or do with. When you right-click this context menu, what you are actually seeing is what's inside of HKey classes root asterisk or the star shell. This is actually what you're seeing. Now, if we open up File Explorer, you'll notice that if you right-click here, this PC, this context menu appears. And also, if you right-click a drive, this context menu appears. These are also two different types of context menu. The context menu that I pulled up right here is controlled by this line: HKey classes root drive shell Microsoft.office.2013. This is the key that we created with the Microsoft. What you're actually seeing when I brought up that context menu of the drives is this. Can these context menus be modified? Yes. Actually, you can modify all the context menus inside of any version of Windows. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is how to uninstall these registry values. And it's very, very simple. If these values have already been imported inside of your registry, hence the word incorporated, inside of your registry file, all you have to do to uninstall them is add a minus key, a little takeaway symbol, on every HKey line that you have created. Now this right here will completely uninstall Microsoft.office.2013 context menu shortcuts that we have put inside the context menu. So let's go ahead and save it. So now when we import this into our registry, incorporate it into our registry, and press yes, yes again, and OK. And now when we right-click the menu, notice that Microsoft Office 2013 has disappeared from the context menu. So if we go into our registry editor, which is located here on our taskbar, we notice that Microsoft.Office.2013 is now gone. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for Notepad. What we do is we right-click Notepad, we scroll up to Edit and click Edit with our left-click mouse button, and then we add a takeaway symbol here and a takeaway symbol here. Don't take away this value because we need it. What you're going to do is alter the stuff that you created, which is this and this, by adding minus keys. We're going to save the file, minimize or close the program, Windows Notepad, and we're going to click on or double click Notepad to run the registry and incorporate it, import it into our registry, our Windows registry. Click yes, yes, and OK. So now when we right-click the desktop, notice that Notepad does not exist there anymore. So what if you want Windows 10, the context menu, all the context menus in Windows to display Microsoft Office 2013 and all of its applications inside of all the context menus? That means this menu, this menu, this menu, and the drive menus, which is the menus here, etc., etc. It's very simple and it can be done. I wrote a script that actually does this, and I also wrote an uninstall script also. And we're going to use them now and get this running. Now, I'm a big fan of all the Office products. I think Microsoft did a wonderful job in creating these awesome applications that users can use, like us, to do many things: PowerPoint presentations, type, Excel, everything. I love them all. I use them all every single day. I actually created a template that converts dec to hex and hex to decimal in Excel, and everybody says it wasn't possible, but it does everything. It converts decimal to hex. It also converts hex to binary, binary to octet, etc., 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 just as long as you have a value. And yes, you can customize offsets in it and everything, basically. I've done it all through Excel. But that's another episode for another time. So let's go ahead and right-click the actual script that I created for Office to be installed on the context menus. Now, when we right-click and go to Edit, and then left-click Edit, and this is what it looks like completely. These values go forever, and this script actually enables me to have Microsoft Office accessible through all the context menus on the PC, on my version of Windows. It took me a while to do this, but I actually got it done, and it took quite a chunk of time, put it to you that way. So let's go ahead and see what this does. We're going to click it or double click depending on how you have it set up. We're going to import it into the registry. Push yes again, and OK. Now when I right click, I open up my context menu, and I have Microsoft Office 2013, and I have Microsoft Access, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft InfoPath, Microsoft InfoPath Designer, Microsoft OneNote, Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Project, Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft Visio, and Microsoft Word. I have them all here on this context menu. I have them all in the folder context menu. I have them all in my file type context menu. And I have them all in my Explorer menu, my File Explorer. And if I right-click my drives, I also have them inside my drives too. So basically, you can fully customize the context menus to do whatever you want without using third-party software on your computer. Now, what if you did download third-party software on your computer to do this? And let me tell you, I have seen so many programs out there. There's one called File Menu, which does a fantastic job in doing it. The thing is, I'm always hands-on. I don't like to use third-party applications that modify Windows unless I really have to, because if it's inside the registry and I'm looking at it, it can be modified no matter what. Anything in Windows can be modified through the Windows registry, the hive of the computer. Another good program, a third-party program, third application that I like is, I have a program installed on here just for, giggles, because I like the way it modifies and it makes the context menus look kind of weird and look pretty cool. I mean, you could actually shut down Windows from your right-click context menu, and you can do functions and beyond functions. But again, like I said, you can do this in the registry if you know how, via the Windows Registry Editor. But I'm going to show you the program anyway because I think it's pretty nifty too. So it's in my computer. You can actually download this off of one of the websites. There are many websites that actually support this application. It's called EC Menu. So what we're going to do is run the application right now. I vaguely use this program, if not even nothing at all. That's why nothing is checked in it, because I like to do the customizations myself, like you just saw, writing the script for it, learning the keys and the string values that you need. I mean, that's really hands-on, and that's why I wanted to do this video, because everything that I do is hands-on without using third-party applications. I'm not saying third-party applications are bad, but some applications could have spyware, malware, viruses, Trojans, and they could actually screw your computer up if you don't know how to do it. I'm not saying that writing script is going to screw your computer up either, but I would rather show you hands-on the right way in doing something than to actually use an application. So when I open up this application, I'm confronted with a series of options that I could actually use. We could add the entire tools section inside the desktop context menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to add everything just for giggles, so you can actually see what this program is capable of doing. So we're actually going to turn this all on and hit the apply changes. and then your little system sound there. And basically now when you right-click the context menu, it takes a little while to kick in, but we have our open command prompt here, which actually opens the command prompt. And we also have select all files, which basically selects everything on my desktop or anything within a folder, etc., etc. If we right-click, we go into Tools, and we have a submenu: delete temporary files, restart Windows Explorer, reduce memory, block mouse and keyboard, block the keyboard, show or hide hidden files and folders. Awesome function. Show or hide file extensions. Another awesome function. Rebuild shell icon scheme. Another really good context menu item. Fix printer spooler. How many people in the world, and I mean all this all the time, always have problems with their printer? And this context file menu program actually incorporates this in here. This is why I said that third-party software isn't bad, but you have to be careful on how you use it. You also have the option of copy IP. In System Tools, you have Computer Management, Task Manager, Command Prompt, Registry Editor, Run, Snipping Tools, Sticky Notes, Programs and Features, All Tasks, MS Config, Device Manager, Services, Network Connections, Control Panel, and Empty Recycling Bin. Inside of our turn-off options, we have Turn-Off Menu, Lock User, Switch Users, Log Off, Sleep, Hibernate, Restart, Shut Down, and Shut Down with Force. And all these options carry along inside of all the context menus. And like when you click on a folder, you also have access to all of what was applied by the third-party software. But you also have take ownership, block access, change icon, copy folder contents list. Awesome feature, I tell you. Permanently delete. Awesome. I tell you, it's one of those things where you don't have to click anything. All you do is click yes and it automatically deletes it. It does not send it to the recycling bin whatsoever, so be careful with that. Change attributes. No more having to go into properties and into a tab and then change the attributes you want. No, you can change them right here. Now, if you click any extension or file, you have open with Notepad, copy text contents, take ownership, block access, permanent delete, or change attributes, and so forth. Now let's see what happens when you open up the File Explorer, and when you click on this PC. Like I said, all the context menus in your computer can be modified by yourself with no third-party applications installed on your PC. And you do that at your own risk, and you also do at your own risk using third-party software, but you're more in control when you're actually editing your values and knowing what you're doing inside of the Windows registry. Now, when I right-click this PC, which is my PC or my computer, depending on what OS you're using, you have Manage, Tools, System Tools, and Turn Off options. You also have this ability inside the drives. You have Disk Cleanup, Defrag, and Change icon. You don't have to go into properties and mess around inside the properties tabs, etc., etc. You can use the Windows Registry Editor or third-party softwares once again to change these Windows context menus. Now that we have covered all this, now you understand how to create scripts, modify the registry, get inside the registry, and edit your context menus and put down what you want to see inside these context menus. Change them around, move things around, add stuff, remove stuff, modify stuff. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Computer Tech Vids. I'm John Adolny, and thank you for watching. If you like my stuff, please subscribe to my channel.